usually love it when that doesn't work. You can say hi, Mom. I'm trying to get this thing going.
Hola.
That's it?
Yes. Trying to get everything up and running.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Good to have you here tonight. Matthew Spear and Olivia Spear are in the house. We should have a good show for you. A lot going on, as always, but some interesting stuff. Provide you a little bit of insight on some of the most latest topics. Talk a little bit about Joe Biden, even though he is a lame duck. And literally his presidency is a lame duck as well. We're going to talk about him. And some other stuff. Whole bunch of stuff. I don't remember what else we're talking about tonight. Here, let me see my list.
Jimmy Carter?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, he died. There we go. There's the news. 100 years old. That's, it sucks. It sucks. It's not good. I mean, it's a bummer, but it is what it is. He lived 100 years. How can you feel bad? Talk about India, Havana syndrome, the whistleblower. We're going to talk about that. See you in a bit. Step into a whim can.
Hey, Matt, congratulations on your success, brother. And I really appreciate you giving, both sides, and just free speech, the opportunity to have a platform, dude.
Got it. You got it. Thanks for everything you've done for this country, Eli. We'll talk next time. Tell Jen hello, and I'll have this ready in a couple of hours, and you can share it and take a look. Thank you, man.
Thanks, brother.
All right. Bye-bye.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me Show. If you have not had a chance, please go over to the Don't Unfriend Me Show and get your sweatshirt, t-shirt, sipping concoction device, whatever you want, of liberal tears.
I would totally wear that sweatshirt.
Yeah, then you want it, is what you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, then just tell me to order it. Liberal tears, folks, as the nutritional facts from liberals, including socialism, feminism, and all of that type of stuff. It's a funny shirt. They're pretty cool. If you have not seen them, they're available. How did I get the idea? Well, I improved on the original logo. Leroy wound up getting me this cup, and I'm like, well, I can make that better. So I did. I made it better. Changed a few things, made the logo a little bit more effective, and now it officially is a Don't Unfriend Me product. You should go and pick one up. You can go ahead and do that at thedumbshow.com/liberals. That's all you need to do, and it'll pull up the entire thing. Let's go try that now, shall we? Let's go do that together.
FYI, Wimkin is down tonight for maintenance, so just so everyone knows.
It has nothing to do with me. It's not my fault. I didn't do it. Don't get mad. So if we go over to the Dumb Show, this is a great way because we need to do this, /liberals. Oops. It's not the Dumb Show.liberals. I apologize. I remember what I did wrong. It's collection/liberals, but it doesn't matter. I'll make it easier. So here's what it comes down to. Go right here, and you can see it. T-shirts, sweater, coffee mug, everything right there at your disposal. Now, what always happens, someone's going to be like, oh, geez, can I get the long sleeve? Yes. If you want a long sleeve, we'll put a long sleeve on there. They'll look just like Olivia and I's. And you can get yourself a long sleeve. Pretty simple. This is it. This is the Liberal Cheers mug. They're amazing. All right, while you're there, now what you can do is go to thedumbshow.com/donate. Okay? Real simple. We are 100% funded by y'all. So if you go to thedumbshow.com/donate, and you can go to your very own donate page. And here you can go to PayPal. You can mail it, or you can go to Venmo if you want to keep the show going. We have a nightly goal of $275. We consider that to be a fairly decent amount, and it's a lot of people would say, well, that's ridiculous. You're working for chump change. To us, this is enough, and you guys helping us and donating to us makes these next 3 months, which are usually the slowest in our business, a little bit easier and a little bit better. So if you would not mind, please go over and donate to thedumbshow.com. We ask at the beginning of the show, we ask around 8:30 if we're not hitting it, and then we kind of pick up the frequency at the end. But we don't like to make it about that, because for 3.5 years, we never brought it up. In fact, we turned down donations because we were doing just fine. Then Facebook pulled the plug, and here we are. So now that we've done that, let's talk about what we're going to talk about tonight. First of all, Olivia, it feels like it's been a year since we've been on.
It does seem, even though we were on Friday.
It just seems like a long time, right?
Yeah, it's just because it's an off week. Because of Christmas, it was just a very truncated show on Tuesday, and then we did burn on Wednesday, and then we're not going to be on this Wednesday, and so just it's always off.
Yeah, it this time of year always seems funky, and everyone else is on vacation. Fox News is on, everyone but us. Crowder's on vacation, Fox News, but for us, it doesn't stop. So we're going to continue to do this.
Definitely going to work today was weird. I mean, it's been 9 days.
Yeah, it had to be. I always hated coming back from vacation. That was the worst.
Yeah.
So hello, everybody. Good to have you here. Hope it's your first time watching the Don't Unfriend Me show. We do this straight out of our house. And maybe one day, and it's starting to possibly feel like we might get a studio at some point or something close, but I think we're probably 9 months away from something like that. But we do want to get to the point where we're inviting people or flying people in to sit down and have an elongated conversation with us and do something a little more personable. But right now, this is what we've got, and we're pretty excited. We've got Leroy and Amy and also Mike, who are on the show. Mike is on Friday. Leroy is on Tuesday, Thursday. Amy is on Monday and Wednesday, except for tonight because she wasn't responsible. I hope, Amy, you're listening. And
just like we were just talking, it seems off. She's off of work.
She's like,
she totally forgot it was Monday.
Yeah.
And just, I totally get that.
Yeah. She's like, we're supposed to be on. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. New Year's resolution. You have one?
No.
You don't need one.
You know what? I tried that at one point, and it lasted like 3 weeks. I've done that. I need to lose weight. I need to do this. I do want to lose that extra 10 pounds, though.
I started my New Year's resolution at the end of November, and I feel much better. Like, I feel great. Working out every day, feel good, feel healthy, putting on some bulk, losing some waste management. Feels good. So I don't believe in doing that because it doesn't last. So I think if you're going to do sorry, my nose is here, get my nose brush. allergies.
Yeah, just people never hold to them.
No, so do them before. Build the habit. Build the habit beforehand.
Yeah, do it daily and remind yourself, daily you want to do something. It doesn't need to be a year-round thing. It would be nice to lose at least 5 pounds in the next 3 weeks. Don't know if that's going to happen, but
well, it depends on if we're getting an invite like we think we might be from Jason. I just talked to Jason from Wimkin, and he got invited to the Maha inauguration, which is going to have RFK there and Vivek and a couple of others, and it's going to be a big thing. If we get invited to that, you're going to have to, like, I'm ahead of the curve. I'm going to have to pack you in a dress. But then we've got the photo shoot.
Pack me in a dress. Menopause sucks.
We got the.
Just have to say, menopause sucks.
We got the photo shoot also, which we got to do, which is that photographer who does like all the Fox personalities and Tucker Carlson. We got to call him and get that booked.
Yes, we do. I thought we already got it booked.
We have to call him and do it. I told him after the holidays we'd call him. So we just got to do it. We can do it tomorrow or Wednesday or whatever and give him a call. Allergies are killing me. Yep. So anyway, I want to, be there for it. So moving on, let's see. Remember we talked about this last night, 133 days on average Joe Biden took vacation.
Yes.
So he is up to about, out of the 4 years, so that's 4 times 365. So 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 6 is 24. So that's 24. So 365, and then 6 times 4 is 24, and then 5 times 4 is 20. So roughly like 1550, 1560. Do the math. 365 times 4.
365 times 4?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It'd be like 200.
1460.
Yeah, 1460. Okay, so 1460, he took out of those days 133 times 3. So 520 something.
It was 520, I thought, when we were watching Fox.
So 520 days. Now,
in less than 4 years.
See, that's the thing. And so they're like, oh, it's only like 40%. First of all, only when you take the weekends and you take the hours that he worked, it's almost 60%. Now, most presidents are up 5:36 in the morning. They go to bed 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. They get 4 or 5 hours of sleep. This guy punched out at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and started work at 9. You do the math, and it's hellacious. The guy was only working about 60% of what normal presidents were working in the day, and then took 40% of that time off. It's just the least amount of work ethic I've ever seen from a president, Definitely Monica Lewinsky worked much harder than Joe Biden. Give her a cigar, right?
Yep.
Literally. So I'm not a big fan of Joe Biden. I'm not a big fan of his work ethic. And here's a video that I just thought I'd put a little truth to action on this. We got a bunch of fun videos tonight, which I always like. I always like it when it's a little bit more
upbeat.
Yeah, I think that's the word. More upbeat.
Yes.
Here is Joe Biden doing his best impersonation. Thank you, Jeff Honeycutt. That's a big donation, Jeff. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you very much, sir.
Here's the video. And just so cringe. Let me change audio real quick. And let's go ahead and watch this. By the way, if you guys want to call in, phone number's on the screen. Here it is.
Thank you, President Trump to take from President Carter.
Decency. Decency. Decency.
Whoops.
Everybody deserves a shot. Everybody. Shot. Everybody.
All right, let's try that again. No, the video isn't frozen. His mouth is actually moving.
Trump to take from President Carter.
Decency. 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 Everybody deserves a shot. Everybody. Can you imagine Jimmy Carter walking by someone who needs something and just keep walking? Can you imagine Jimmy Carter referring to someone by the way they look or the way they talk? I can't.
Is that kind of like when you
What
called?
does that mean?
I don't know, but is it kind of like the time you called people deplorable and, extremists and Christian white nationalists and, called people who were Trump supporters the worst kind of people?
Yep. You know what that reminded me of?
What?
That new horror film, Smile. I don't know if you've ever. I haven't seen it. I don't like horror, but I've seen the previews, and something happens when you smile, or so, I don't know the context of it, but
Sounds stupid.
yeah, it pretty much is. I'm sure Hayden's seen it because she's the horror.
She's stupid.
Yeah.
What?
But I think one of the video or the movie posters is of this chick just smiling really big and looked just like that, and that's what it totally reminded me of. Just
Kind of like Jack Nicholson.
yeah, scary.
Smile horror. Okay, I'm gonna look for this movie. Smile. Oh yeah, she looks like AOC, but without the tits.
There was another one with the chick with short hair was in it at one point.
Okay,
but
so
yeah.
now I gotta find that one.
I think there's two of them. Maybe it's Smile 2. I don't know.
Wait a second. So you're complicating this.
Yeah.
So which one is it?
I don't know. Let me look it up.
No, I'm looking it up. So
I don't know if it's. I don't pay
Smile
attention.
2 movie. All right, let me look. Oh, it is. Okay, I see. So let me get this straight. They cut her face like the Joker. Is that it?
Yeah.
Isn't
something
that
like
the movie didn't we see Batman?
Yeah.
This is stupid.
Yeah. It really is. That's what just reminded me. So that's all.
Anyway. Yeah, this movie looks like How Not to Smile. Like that's all it is people smiling. What the hell?
Yeah.
So is this a B movie?
I don't know. Well, they made a second one. You have to ask Hayden. I'm pretty sure she's seen it.
Whatever. All right. So I don't want to hear any more about Joe Biden being the hardest working president. I think I'm sick and tired of this. I really am.
He's definitely not, and he's also going to go down as the worst president in history.
He's right up there.
Ugh.
He's right up there. By the way, we were watching that sometime in February, 7 planets are going to be in the line. Now, people are like, wait a second, why not 9 planets? Well, because we're on one of them. So that makes 8. And Pluto's not a planet. So that makes 7.
They actually did say it was a planet.
No, they did. They retracted it. It's not.
Again?
Pluto's not a planet. So it's my understanding, we're Earth. Even though we'll be aligned, we're not going to see it. But I want to show you something that's really interesting, is that a lot of people think that it's going to be from this way, right? Which is a circle on a linear plane. Makes sense? Mm-hmm. Because, okay, so like here's Earth.
Okay.
How does Mars, how does it travel?
I think it travels. I think they all travel the same way around the sun, don't they?
At the same planar, at the same elevation, at the same.
No, I don't. I think some are higher, some are lower. But
It's interesting because when you think about it and you see it as a straight line where it's like bam, 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 bam.
yeah,
bam,
that's
right?
what you think. But
Yeah, but it's not. And the reason I want to show you this is because they're all going to be. Well, I do that because I got to play the video.
I know.
I wish there was a way I could mute it. Maybe there is. I'll figure it out. But anyway, they're all going to be in alignment for the first time since, God was a corporal. So this is going to be pretty interesting. Get this video on here. So this is actually the path that they make around the sun. So this is what we think is that they may be all in different positions, right? That we're not all. This is what will happen in February, is that they will all be on a single line. Okay?
yeah.
But this is what people think happens, something like this, right? Where
Yes.
they're all at different intervals around the circumference of the sun.
Yeah.
But Larry Olson, it's all fake anyway. Okay, Larry. Okay. Yes, all the sentinel and ethereal beings in the sky are all round. And you know this because you see the moon in its different phases. You can see the actual processes of everything being a globe, except the Earth. The Earth was the only thing that decided to be flat. That's correct. It's all fake. So this is what it actually is going to look like. And this isn't that cool?
That is very neat.
So all different elevations, and
Yeah.
this is the movement of it in space. It's not stationary, is that it's all moving as the sun propels through space, and we move around it at different variants. So you can see the complexity of all being in a singular line like that.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But it's all fake. You're right. There's no such thing. It's all a confidence trick by the Swiss, just like watches. But anyway, I thought it was interesting. So, it's February. We'll go out and look and bring out the telescope and see what we see.
Yes.
Pretty interesting. But I digress. The reason I was going to bring up that is because there's some other things that I wanted to bring up that don't really have a lot to do with space, but have to do with like not urban legends, but more conspiracy theory that is not proven. Here's one of them, which is not conspiracy theory, but kind of like an urban legend, that woke is this huge call to have awareness of social injustice and racial prejudice and all of those things. Is that the way you would define woke? The definition from the 60s is that it's all about making people aware of racial injustice and prejudice and everything else? Or would you define woke as something else?
I think woke and cancel culture are synonymous with each other.
Yeah.
That's pretty much that is the woke I know, is everything being canceled, unless you agree with what the left says, you're canceled. The remaking of our movies and changing everything about them. Just that's what I think it is.
So I'll expand on that. Is that I believe that it's designed to subjugate an opinion over somebody else's voice in order them to verbally castrate them from having an opinion that's opposite of other people, right?
Yeah.
And it's used to demand conformity or else. And essentially it's a form of threat.
Yeah.
But this lady, who I have no effing idea, it looks like she went to a Maker's Mark factory from the whiskey and stuck her head in the wax. And she's also confused because she's rocking blue and red, so I guess she's a blip. Or a crud. I don't know if she's confused or not, but there was a time wearing red and blue would get you killed. But here she is with her opinion. I don't know what her name is, but she says that MAGA leaders are trying to rebrand woke. And the thing is that nobody has the power to do that because it's been established, right? The woke movement was coined and phrased in the 60s and 70s to open our eyes to racial injustice, segregation, prejudice, et cetera, and the systemic racism that was in place. And my question to woke people is, well, when did you stop being a racist? When did you stop denying that social injustice took place? When did you stop being xenophobic and homophobic? And they're like, what are you talking about? I've always been awake. I'm like, now you understand what awake means. Is that we've done this already. And if you've been sleeping the last 40, 50 years, then that's your own damn fault. But some of us have already done this. We've been here. We've done that. We don't need to have another woke movement. And if there are people who have, then you have failed. Now it is turned into something just like feminism, to something antithetical to what it was. Here is this genius. What the hell is she wearing on her head?
I don't know.
Does it not look like a fedora that's been cut in Willy Wonka style in half? Look at the brim.
No, it's ridiculous.
It's stupid. Here it is. God, at least she's not wearing a dress made of meat. Here it is.
It's true.
I want to play this for you since you bring it up, and then we could talk about it.
Everybody knows the black or white. There's creatures in
Yeah, I'm not paying that money for you. Even though you go, wait. Let me get her song. Master Teacher, Urkia Badu. Even though you go through struggle and strife to keep a healthy life, I stay woke, I stay woke. Everybody knows a black or white. There's creatures in every shape and size. I stay woke. Whatever. Here we go. Listen to this.
Stay woke. It's just urging folks to pay attention, to be alert. Wow.
I want my culture to stay woke, but I want the other cultures that's supporting us to stay woke.
Woke fascism that will destroy our nation.
We will never, ever surrender to the woke mob. Florida is where woke goes to die.
I think they mean black.
Yes, that's exactly what I meant. Yes. Black people go to Florida to die. Thank you for don't forget the gays. Don't forget those people too.
Yeah, it's another way to say.
Why does she look like a dumb Rihanna?
Devo. Somebody said she
Devo.
belongs with Devo.
Yeah, okay.
A thug or something else, right?
And how do you feel about that?
What in the name of... Okay, that's all right. That's all right. Just...
It is what it is. It doesn't belong to us anymore. I can tell you what woke means.
Please.
It just means being aware. And it's not only in the political arena. That means with your health. That means in your relationships. That means in your home. That means...
But that's not what it means. So if you get to redefine it, should it be different than the literal meaning? Because you guys did that with feminism. You did that with democracy. You did it with democratic socialism. You did it with insurrection. You did it with Nazis. So you get to have your own special language. You did it with male and female. So when do we ask the question of why do you get to redefine the flag? You get to redefine what the thin blue line is. You get to redefine what MAGA means. So why does the left constantly redefine things that have been established in order to fit their narrative?
That's just it. You just said it. They need it to fit their narrative so they feel relevant. If the focus is not solely on them, then they feel small. They cannot live without the attention. And that's my opinion as far as them. I mean, if you think about it, people on Facebook, the ones who post pictures of their food every night that they eat and their surgeries that they go through, and freaking I went shoe shopping and underwear shopping and posting all, all they're doing. You
can post your underwear. I'm good with that.
All they're doing is they want clicks and they want people to comment. And then you can tell that they post something and no one comments and they only get like 2 likes. Then they go more into it and they post like a more close-up picture of their plate of spaghetti or something. And then they say something and all they want is attention. They're attention getters, attention seekers. And that's all they want. And that's why it keeps changing. It's never the same. They're constantly pushing something new on everyone else. And the funny thing is they have caused, I was thinking about this because I was listening to Try That in a Small Town the other day. And I was thinking about that. And I'm like, if it wouldn't have been for last summer and the left freaking out about that song, I would never have even heard it. So them freaking out is actually bringing more attention to what they're trying to cancel.
Yeah.
And it's getting more attention on it and getting more people to like it or want to buy it. So it's doing the complete opposite of what they want it to. If they would just leave it alone, it would work. But they're calling more attention to it and more people see it and then it becomes more popular. And unless that's the point of doing it, and then they can cry, oh, boo-hoo, boo-hoo, and then they can complain. So I don't know, but I think they're attention seekers and that's all they want.
I think everybody online is some form of attention-seeking behavior, right? I mean, because that's the ultimate goal, is to have people notice your stuff, get likes on it and stuff. And I don't know if I condemn that. What I condemn is clickbait. Like, people think that I am an attention seeker when I post something controversial. And whether it be, Donald Trump working at McDonald's, or I post something about woke and awake. And for example, this is getting a lot of controversy where people are saying, wait a second, awoke and wake mean the same thing. And that's not true at all. In fact, woke and wake don't mean the same thing. We know this for a fact. Otherwise, there wouldn't be 2 words for the same exact thing. And I think that it's our responsibility to call out the difference between woke and awake, and it's fairly simple.
Yeah.
is that you don't have to destroy other people because they don't believe in something you do when you're awake. Like when you're like, listen, I understand there was a very long time ago where racial inequality was the standard operating procedure of everything. That women were subjugated to this and that, and men were subjugated to this and that of color. I get it. I get all those things. But to sit here and say that we have not progressed, and this is the meme I put up, I just put woke, you're in a fishbowl, and awake, and is outside of that bowl. Thank you so much, Jane. So if you look at this, it's basically saying you can see the rest of the ocean. You can see what's going on, but because you're in a fishbowl and it's woke, you can't explore it. You can't touch it because this is your own little world. But somebody who is awake most assuredly can get 99% of the picture and learn because they're not contained in one space. This is the problem with woke, is that if you stray from the ideology, if you stray from the narrative, you're castigated out. And this is where people who were woke awake and go, wait a second, I didn't realize this. I didn't realize the border was a serious problem. I didn't realize COVID lockdowns were truly as bad as they said they were. I didn't realize that Ukraine was a pretty horrible country before we started giving it money, and it hasn't made it any better. Not that Russia is a great country, because I despise Russia as much as I honestly don't like Ukraine. But this is where once you get, proverbially kicked out of the bowl, you have the ability to wake up. So even though you might feel getting canceled or getting your friends to unfriend you might be the worst thing ever, or your family, surprisingly enough, I have become more aware of my surroundings getting out of the woke culture, working for Apple, working for Comcast. You remember the trainings I had to go through. You remember how politically correct.
Yes.
Once I got out of that, it was like, it was amazing how much of the world I wasn't seeing. So just something to think about. Something to think about. By the way, folks, if you have not had a chance, please go over to wimkin.com. A fantastic place for you to actually spread your knowledge with other people. 9 million users over at wimkin.com. It is a mixture of Instagram and Threads and Facebook and Twitter and all that, all rolled into one. And you can watch the Don't Unfriend Me show there most nights, but they are doing a remodel on the server. So it's been down for most of the holidays, but we'll be getting back up soon. So anyway, I just wanted to touch on that when it comes to woke and anti-woke and all this other crap. Okay. I'm not anti-woke. I am anti destroying people's lives and castigating aspersions on them simply because they don't agree with what you agree with. I'm done with it. I'm so not going to conform to this mentality, and I never will. Pretty simple. What's wrong with Angel?
I think she wants to unsubscribe, but I don't know if it's us or somebody else. So I just told her to email me.
Unsubscribe.
That's why I can't ask any questions and dig into it of what she's talking about right now. So I just told her to email me so I could figure it out.
Hold on. Are you talking about the? We just do it here. Angel, are you talking about the Dumb Nation group, the $1.99? Just go to the Dumb Nation group on Facebook and cancel, because you're not subscribing to anything for us, and I'm not sure who they are. So Angel, let me know. I can answer your question right now instead of emailing Liv. Yeah, I'm not sure why we're using the pronoun game. Just tell me what you're trying to do. So here is a Black Lives Matter protest that took place in Manhattan, New York, last night, and
what's up?
I'm reading Angel's reply, and it seems very weird. Angel, how long have you been watching the show? Let me know how long. And Angel, what's Sue Boland's real name? Can you answer me those 2 questions, please? How long have you been watching this show, and what's Sue Boland's real name? Let me know. Angel would know that. And the $1.99. Okay, it's you. Sorry, that was really weird what you said there when you're like, Olivia is my favorite name. It's like, Olivia is always on here. I don't know why you would tell her that. So the $1.99, go to the Dumb Nation and just unsubscribe. Just leave the group. It's that simple. Sorry, you're going to be gone. Black Lives Matter protests here in Manhattan. Olivia, tell me what you think is different here. And this is why it's interesting, because this is the whole woke culture. And a lot of it comes from BLM. What is different? Give you a few seconds of this.
No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! Fuck these racist ass police! Say his name! Robert Frost! 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 Justice for...
Okay, so I want you to count from the guy who's screaming and yelling in the Rastafarian cap, and I want you to count how many people. Ready?
Yep.
Go.
Robert Frost! Justice for Robert Frost! Robert Frost! Robert Frost!
Wow. It was packed. My first thought was the front line, it was actually all black people.
First time in a while.
And then you watch the rest of the crowd go by, and that first line was the only black people, and the rest were white. But that was what, like 30 people, maybe?
Yeah, all tens of them.
Exactly.
You know? So you're talking about what's changed, right? What happened to the 5, 7, 8 million votes from 2020 that didn't show up? Where did all those votes go? And where are all the BLM protesters? Why aren't they here?
Because I think a lot of them are sick of what's going on. I think the missing votes are the votes from the people who are unregistered voters. They didn't get their ballots sent to them this year.
That's right.
Like they did 4 years ago.
Right. And then these people didn't get their paychecks from Soros and other people funding them. Mm-hmm. It's Yenny, if you want to be on the show, we'll get you a mic. Now go on your bed. Your new colored bed that's gray.
I think she's mad we moved it.
She's pissed. We moved the pink one because it was reflecting the light way too much.
Yeah, Mom's been off for 9 days, and I went to work today. I don't think she's happy I left.
No, she was hooing and hawing. So the thing that I would say is it seems like black support is down. You know, people keep saying that they're waiting for January 20th to show up. So what happens when they don't show up on January 20th? What are we going to say? Because why didn't they riot over the Daniel Penny?
There was a teeny bit, but they didn't riot.
It was hardly anything.
Yeah, there was a teeny bit, but that was not what I expected, especially considering the past few years, George Floyd and other ones, how, I mean, they lit cities on fire. So yeah, this is definitely, it's a little more low key than it's been over the last few years.
I wonder why. So, you know, everyone thinks that January 20th, now it's possible. January 6th can come around and then we could have a huge riot. But we're not getting that sense. We're getting the sense that people are kind of just like, forget this shit. This is stupid. It doesn't do it.
Done.
I really hope so. You know, I really do. I don't expect them to accept the election and embrace it, but I'm just like, burning shit down. I mean, protest, right? That protest is fine. I think it's stupid, but whatever. Good for you. You're not burning shit down. Protest, bang on the drum all day, do whatever you want to do, but don't burn stuff down. Go ahead.
I think, I hope they finally realized how stupid they were, because they were burning down their own neighborhoods.
Yeah.
They were breaking in and loitering their own stores that they go to buy groceries, and the stores that are in their neighborhoods where they go shopping, and their gas stations, and they did it in their area. And I think after a few times of them doing that, and the stores having to raise prices to cover the costs of all the damaged windows and the stolen goods, I think they realized that it's probably not the best to riot and burn shit down in our own neighborhoods where we live.
Right.
Because it just, nothing happens, nothing gets accomplished, and it just makes our lives harder. And they realize they can't go into other areas where they don't live because they're going to get freaking laughed at and ran out of town for doing that. So
I think the cities are also done with that shit.
I think they are.
Like a lot of the governors may pretend that they want all this illegal immigration. I think they're sick and tired of it. And I think there's also a new administration coming in who's not going to tolerate it. Here's the reason is that there is a gender studies professor from University of Iowa that is a little kerfuckled. Listen to this, and we'll come into one other thing, and then we'll move on to the next
in the new
section.
School of it's disappointing. It's sad.
She teaches gender studies and social justice courses and says she's seen a spike in student interest.
We've seen our majors grow, and in fact, social justice was one of the fastest growing majors of the units that are being sort of restructured in the new School of Social and Cultural Analysis. So it is, again, disappointing because it's clear that the students want these courses.
Murillo also says students who've gone through the programs are contributing to Iowa's workforce.
It's disappointing.
Evil Katy Perry is wrong.
I wonder if they have to pass Writing 101 to get their degree in social justice. What are they going to do after they graduate? Be the picket leader and hold the bigger sign? I mean, what kind of a freaking career do you have for getting a social justice and gender studies degree? Are you fucking serious?
You can go work for a major Fortune 500s in their HR department and be an SPHR.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's really all it is. And I think corporations are shedding themselves from the DE. I think people have been looking for a reason to say, oh, we're going to put this shit back on the shelf. But I think corporations were forced to do it. And now that more corporations have joined Donald Trump, whether it be Amazon or Facebook or Twitter, I think you're going to see a universal jumping of the ship on DEI cancel culture bullshit. Jim Breuer does a great job. And I like Jim Breuer. I've always liked Jim Breuer. And, the goat boy guy from SNL.
Yep.
I used to do his voice pretty good. I can't do it anymore. But he's great. Watch this skit. I was pissing myself watching this. I thought this was hilarious. Listen to this.
Trust the experts. Trust the experts. Trust the science. Trust the science. CDC, CDC. Dr. Fauci, Dr. Fauci. Mask on, mask off. 2 shots, 1 shot. Mask on, 2 masks. Comply, comply.
Because at the end of the day, I don't really understand why people have the choice to be infecting our vulnerable children or immunocompromised people or even others who have taken the responsible choice to
We
get
have
back.
no rules and regulations. We shall determine who is essential. We shall determine who may go at your house and who shall have a muffin. And remember, if you see any children playing uns outside together, report them and their parents.
It's so true. I mean, and it's just like, there used to be a time when, fascism and, the red curtain would be pushed up against and people would rise up and say, okay, we have our differences of opinions, but we can at least agree that this stuff isn't good for America, that this stuff is not, conducive to a republic and freedom and our Constitution. Thank you so much, Christina. That's Parkansky. That's new, right?
She's donated before.
Well,
several times.
Thank you, Christina Parkansky. You're the best. So it's just funny to me, and he's such a great comic. And I don't think people understand how funny he is. They remember him as Goat Boy, but honestly, he's tremendous. The whole point about this is that this woke culture is not what it used to be, because what it is you're saying that there's inequality and racial injustice and social justice, and that needs to be recognized. But what you want to do is cast aspersions against an entire group of people like MAGA, and you want to treat them supposedly how you magically fantasize about how you're being treated. And you think it's okay. This is the conundrum wrapped in an enigma, wrapped in a riddle. Like I've said, feminism is crap, not because feminism went 1 and 2 wasn't good. It's that 3 and 4 turned around to hating men and grabbing the power and taking it from men and rubbing their nose in shit. So it's not that people want equality. It's not that they want equal treatment. They want power. And this is the entire woke culture. For example, look at J.K. Rowling. The left loved her. They all grew up on it. They got tattoos of it and got tramp stamps of the divinity, the triad divinity on the back of their freaking, lower back. And they waited hours in lines for these books, Liv. Mm-hmm. And now J.K. Rowling's evil because she won't say that a man can be a woman and a woman can be a man.
Yep.
I mean, they have canceled so many people because people are like, oh, well, that has nothing to do with you. Well, then I'll give you anecdotal evidence about me and my show and what Facebook's done. Oh, that doesn't count because it's unprovable. Well, then you're not interested in this. You have an idea that is wrong.
You want to live in your own little
bubble.
You
want to live in your fishbowl. And that's cool. Live in your fishbowl. But don't expect me to swim with you because I'm not going to. Like, I'm all about trans rights or human rights. Of course they are. If you dress up and you put, black dots all over you and wear a white freaking sheet and bark, I'm not going to call you a Dalmatian. I'm going to call you a person who is sick in the head. But if you want to be called Spot, I'll call you Spot. But if you want me to tell you that you're a dog, I'm not going to take part in your delusion, right? I'm not going to take part in that 007 should be black, or that Ariel should be black, or that all white people should be removed and we should do, what's the Jefferson, the play? And
Hamilton.
Hamilton. Come on. I don't care how good it is. But if you're going to show something like the 688 and that show on Netflix, well, that's historically accurate. That's not woke. That's just telling about history. But if you go ahead and decide to make George Washington, Jamar Washington, and instead of Martha Washington, it's Shaniqua Washington, I'm going to have some issue with that. And if you change the U.S. flag to an African flag, I'm going to have some issues. And you put white people in chains, that would be historically accurate. And surprisingly enough, there were more white slaves who built Washington, D.C. than black slaves. So if you think that just black people were the only slaves in the United States, of course, from a numerical value, yes, there were shit ton more black people. But white people were slaves. Chinese were slaves. And then a lot of people are like, well, they were indentured servants. That's different. Unless you were an indentured servant. Ask the Chinese and the Irish how they felt about slavery, about being addicted to opium, and that being used in the Chinese markets across all these silver mining towns. And what happened to those people? And the ones that were overly addicted to the opium would go and sell themselves into indentured servitude on the railroad. Listen, our past is ugly, but we don't need to continue to make it uglier, for God's sakes. Here's a video. This is...
I was going to say something.
Oh, I'm sorry, sweetie. Go ahead.
About, you mentioned the governors. Thank you, JD.
Thanks, JD.
You mentioned, the governors. I was just thinking that I wouldn't doubt if some of these public figures, maybe even some of these governors or mayors of these cities, are just crying and... yes, all the illegal immigrants can come to my city and I'm going to fight Trump on every blah, 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 blah. And behind the scenes, they're working with Trump to get the illegals out of their cities and to get them out of their states because their cities have turned into shitholes.
Some are. And some
And
are.
I would not doubt, and I wouldn't doubt if some of the politicians out there are just to save face with their voters because they have an election coming up in 2 years and they want to get reelected, but they know if they veer any closer to the right, no matter where they're at on the left spectrum, that they're going to lose. And so I wouldn't doubt if a lot of people are secretly behind closed doors going to be
right
more, centric and more, on board with Trump than they allow the public to see them as.
I think they are, and I think we're seeing that. We're seeing that there's people leaving the House and moving over to the Republican side. I think you're seeing people like Fetterman who are embracing this. I think there are top Democrats who are being open-minded to Donald Trump. Schumer and Pelosi don't seem to have a loud enough voice. Hakeem Jeffries is screaming from the rooftops, but his people aren't. This is Aya May, and she was working as a doctor during COVID. She's from Australia, and she is now singing, and her song is called Carmageddon.
Ooh.
And it's interesting. So, we have a call. Hi, caller. What do you want to talk about?
Hey, I wanted to wish you, hope you had a Merry Christmas.
We did, Frank. How about you?
My name is Joseph Hillstrom.
This is Joe. Sounds like Frank.
It did sound. I thought it was Kevin. First, you said.
Okay, so we got three different things. I thought it was Frank.
Okay.
She thinks it's Kevin, and this is Joseph.
Yeah, this is Joseph.
All right, Joseph.
Hello, Joseph.
Happy New Year, buddy. So it's great to have you here, and we've seen you plenty. What did you want to chat about, man?
Hey, I just wanted you. I'm not taking over your show, but I just wanted, we're talking about the woke situation going on. And, I live in Minnesota, right? With Tim Walz. But anyways, they changed our flag from this last year to a new flag. And it's pretty much identical image to the flag of Somalia, so I don't know.
I saw that.
Did you see that?
I did see that.
I did not, but that.
So
frustrating.
I'm going to pull that up. Minnesota old flag, new Somalia.
Well,
now, go ahead.
It gave representation in the old flag of the farmers, the natives, the hard work, this and that, but apparently it was offensive to maybe the natives, but I doubt it. It wasn't anything. But they had to change it to look, coincidentally, almost like the Somalian flag, their national flag. And it's
what did the
very
old one
close.
look like?
I can't tell the difference between the Somalian flag and Minnesota flag. Look at that. Pretty damn close.
Yeah, I've got all three up right now. So Minnesota's on the bottom, and they completely removed the seal and everything else. And I guess because they're, they somehow said this is offensive because there's Native Americans and cowboys working the land and all that, are Native Americans working the land. And now this is the new flag. But we also have to remember that Obama dumped a shite ton of Somalians into Minnesota. And there's an entire district that's packed with Somalians, which honestly delivers Minnesota in the election.
Yeah, it was also with, I don't know if you remember the Senator Paul Wellstone, but he died in a plane crash, but he brought in a lot of them.
Yeah.
Which, hey, that's fine, but Minneapolis is forever changed. They play, I don't know, the loudspeakers. They play the Muslim. Yeah, it's it's crazy.
Yeah, for prayer, right? So,
exactly. They do that.
Yes. So they go ahead and play that over the loudspeaker, twice a day for morning prayer and then late afternoon prayer. Yeah. And so, I don't have a problem. There's Chinatown. There's, you've got ethnic neighborhoods all the time, but there is a very large hatred towards the United States from Somalians. And it's like bringing Gazans over here. Most 90% of adult Gazans believe that Israel shouldn't exist and not be a sovereign state. Somalians feel the same way about the United States, and they do have a lot of terroristic sympathy. So I'm not going to castigate all Somalians into a bad light, but what I'm saying is you can pretty much assure yourself that they're not voting in the best interest of their constituents, next to them. They're voting for whatever's good for Somalians. And this is where Ilhan Omar and her ilk have obviously, in my opinion, betrayed the United States and the people of this country. But that's just my opinion.
Well, okay. Well, okay. I did sell insurance for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And the owner of the State Farm, whatever,
mm-hmm.
his son went to U of M, and he got jumped twice by Somalian gangs on the campus of University of Minnesota. Somalian gangs. They go to it's called Dinky Town. It's kind of a cool little spot. It's, with the college kids. And one of them brandished a gun, and luckily his son's a pretty built guy, and he got the gun away from him and beat the shit out of him. But no, it's really, it is a cultural battle going on, and it's even happening. I live out in the suburbs, and it's here too, and they build all these high rises, and they're filled. I mean, and I'm not, a racist or anything like that, but you got all these different people from different countries here now too. It's a real deal. It ain't,
Well,
news
it's going to be.
Don't even hear.
Yeah. It's going to be.
I don't know if you have there in Virginia like we do in Minnesota, but
we do.
Minnesota's turned a shithole. As fast as I can get my ass out of here, I will.
Well, it's not a shithole in Virginia. We live in one of the most prestigious places in the United States. It's the schools, the economy, the safety. It's, we pay for it though out the ass. But there are parts of Virginia which are downtrodden, and there's a ton of illegal. We have a huge illegal problem in Virginia because they dump a lot of them in here. We had a ton of Afghanis come over after Joe Biden's debacle, which we're fine with because most of the Afghani people are incredibly human beings. And I know a ton of Afghanis, and I've got no problem with them. Somalia is a little bit of a different equation. I don't have a lot of empathy and love for the Ethiopian and Somalian people because of the conflicts that stem from there. And Ethiopia's got a bad rap because of the Somalians who have created and occupied areas inside Ethiopia that are not true Ethiopian countries because of Somalia and the terrorism that they overall emulate in the way that they conduct their business and their lives. Not a fan, but that doesn't make you a racist. I don't understand people that recognize the worst parts of society and can talk about the best parts of society, and somehow it's racism. I think if you make broad generalizations that say all Somalians are evil, I'm going to have a problem with that. But if you say that there is a very large portion of Somalians who have questionable belief structures and overall ideology that can sometimes and often turn violent, I don't think that makes it a racist trope. Joseph, how long have you been watching the show?
4 or 5 years.
Yeah, from the beginning, so that's awesome, man.
I remember calling you up. There's probably maybe 20 on there.
I remember.
First,
yeah.
Maybe 20.
Yeah. It's been
you told me to call the show, and I couldn't figure it out, and you got frustrated. I'm waiting for you.
I've done that in the past. I've calmed down a little bit since then, but I always love a good conflated ego that turns into a confrontation for sure.
Yeah, I got an ego, but I do know my stuff. I've been around a little bit, so most of the things you say, I agree with.
Okay.
And it's not just your statements; it's your backup and your facts and the way you explain it. This is how I derive information. I take the information and I read through the bullshit parts of it, but I figure out true meaning of everything.
Yeah,
Oh,
trying to.
Yeah. But you've been doing great, and I wish the best for you and your family.
Thank you, sir.
Two beautiful kids, beautiful wife.
Thank you.
You know, you're gonna prosper. That's all I gotta say. You're gonna reach the top.
With people
And
like you, we will, and that's why we want to continue to grow and get that support, and we appreciate it immensely, and we're going to keep doing it as long as you guys keep supporting it, if that's fair.
All right. So I don't want to keep you on. I just wanted to bring up a point about Minnesota. I got to get out of here. Seriously.
Get over to Virginia. We'd love to have you and go to breakfast with you.
All right,
let's
Joe. Do it.
Yep, you got it, Bubba. All right, man. Good talking to you, Joseph.
Thanks,
buddy.
Joseph.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, Olivia. Thank you, Matthew. Have a good night.
Have a
you
good
got
night.
it, brother. Tell your wife I said hi. All right, Joseph is a good dude, and love that he called in. Let's do this. Let's go do this real quick. So this is IMA. Thank you so much, Debbie, for the donation. So she got canceled. She's now an independent artist. Her record label told her to change the words to her song, which is about inflation and Carmageddon. And they said, you need to change it. And she said, no, I'm not going to change it. So her link is bit.ly, and it's Aya May Baby. And you guys can find it. I just put it on there. And it's a poppy song. It's not my thing. She may be a punk rocker for all I know, and this is just her one song. But like Taylor Swift or Katy Perry or whatever, she's got that poppy sound. But I found it very interesting how they canceled her, and I figured it would be a good topic about the woke thing, and then we can shift gears. Here it is.
Man-made virus, watch the millions die. Biggest profit of their lives. Here's inflation, that's your prize. This is Carmageddon. Turn on the news and eat their lies. Kim or Kanye, pick a side. Cancel culture, what a vibe. This is Carmageddon. Corporations swear they never lie. Politicians brought for life. More than wars, genocide.
It's interesting. It's got a good sound to it. She's got an amazing voice.
Mhm. She was a nurse in Australia?
Doctor.
Oh, wow.
my
She's a
understanding.
doctor to singer.
Yeah, so she was frontlines as a doctor during COVID, and it's not quite poppy. It's got kind of an edgy Elastica type feel, and my understanding is that some of her music is like a little punk. So I'm going to check her out, and we're going to see if we can get her
What's
on the
her
show.
name?
I already explained it. It is the link's right up there, but it's Aya May is her name.
Aya May. Okay.
Iyah, and May, May, and I put up her site. She's on iTunes and everything else. She's only got 17,000 followers, so she seems to be doing somewhat viral on her video, and I would love for you to reach out to her and see if we can get her on.
Okay.
Plus, she's.
See, I know what you're saying. I know what you're gonna say.
What was I gonna say?
That you think she's hot.
I don't think she's hot. She's not my type. She's not brunette. And she's not you. I would say smoking would be more accurate. No, that's not what it's about. I like her voice, and she's got something to say, and she's being censored, and the woke, asshats are doing what they always do, and I think it's awesome for her to go independent. It reminds me of what we are doing, and we're not jumping on with a big channel or anything like that. We're staying independent and plan on being independent unless somebody comes at us with millions. If they do, I'm going to sell out like a frickin' chump. In a New York minute, I'll sell out. So anyway, I thought it would be good. So yeah, maybe you can. She had a good voice, and she doesn't sound, digitized. And thank you so much, John Francis. Where is Bobby tonight? Is she around?
I haven't seen her.
All right. I hope she's okay. I hope everything's okay with Bobby. Maybe her husband can let us know. And no, it's not about money. We just want to know if she's here. And usually I see her by now. She is no Megyn Kelly. That is absolutely correct. But she has a good voice, and I hope she continues to sing and make it big. We'll be right back.
The Dumb Store is veteran-owned with a 5-star diamond rating for service and satisfaction. We offer quality products like coffee, shirts, hoodies, and hats, all made by veterans. Shop with confidence, backed by hundreds of 5-star reviews. Use code DUMB10 to save 10%. Visit thedumbshow.com today. Thank you for your support.
Someone banned Sandy Woods because... Thank you so much, John Francis. We appreciate you. Sandy Woods, get her out of here. First of all, sounds like a porn star name to go with your porn star picture. Sandy Woods. My name's Dirk Diggler. Go ahead and ban her ass, please. Funny video. Tell me when you're done banning her so I can show you this video, Liv.
Okay. I'm not banning her. Somebody else will.
This is classic. Do you remember ding dong ditching?
Yes. Yes, I did it. I think our kids do it. I don't think it's died. I think they still do it. But I don't know how you get away with it nowadays because everyone's got a camera on their front door.
This is exactly like that. But it's funny. This is just a segue, and we'll get into the serious part of this. But this is fun. 2 boys, obviously with their little sister or cousin. Ding dong ditch. No problem, Joseph. We love you, buddy. We're glad you're here. And ding dong ditch, and then leave her behind. Watch this.
Oh my God, the poor thing.
If you listen to her, she's like, oh. When she gets to the wall here, she's like, oh. She's, oh.
She almost tumbles over her head. Oh, the poor thing. You know what that reminds me of? Hayden's fall down the stairs.
He's just dragging her because she's dead. She's just completely dead. It does remind me. All of a sudden, we're sitting in here, and I'm on the show. Olivia's up in the shower, and I hear, and Hayden breaks her leg and falls down the stairs. It was funny.
I was actually talking about when she was wearing my red heels for freaking...
Yeah, that was funny, too.
Yeah, when she fell down the front stairs, and then her friends made a video of it. That was funny.
So we'll get on the serious tip here. So everyone remembers that I did a show on Lahaina with the Lahaina fires, and I revisited it a couple months ago and explained to everybody that there was some investigations on people trying to buy land, but the laws they put in place stopped them cold. Thank you so much, Frank, not Joseph. Sounded like him, I swear to God.
I love our listeners.
So, direct energy weapons. I told you they've existed all along, but the way that people were trying to turn them into some sort of practical application of sending a beam from space, this is ridiculous. You need to understand is that direct energy weapons do exist. They are very large platforms right now, and microtechnology has not been achieved because of power sources. If they did, we would probably solve the energy crisis. But direct energy weapons work very differently than you anticipate. Now, weapons can be used to heat up integrated air defense systems. You've got several systems inside Israel, the Robin Hood system. There's a few other ones that we can't talk about. There's the Arrow that ultimately, I did a video on this too, which will at various ranges and degrees use weapons to impact and hit surface-to-surface missiles, or cruise missiles or anything else. But ship vessels may possibly have direct energy weapons. Can either confirm or deny. But there is something that you do need to understand is that there was something that you may have heard of. I hope you have, in regards to Havana syndrome. I brought this to you guys a few years ago, and so did a lot of other channels. But in regards to Cuba and in South American embassies, that intelligence officials, ambassadors were complaining about very severe headaches and vomiting and feeling like there was an overall static electric charge around them. And it was found out that they were using vibronic style weaponization of certain frequencies that the human body does not respond well to. So like the Mythbusters did one on the brown note, which is a certain frequency that can make you crap your pants. And although this wound up proving to be false, there are frequencies over a long period of time which can have horrible impacts on the body, because we are all frequency based. Frequency is the meaning of life. Now, some people are like, well, it's reproduction or, insemination or air or frequency. It is everything, every reaction in space, everything that happens is based on frequency. All things that are destroyed, not from out of existence, but even when you destroy matter, the frequency remains, and it ultimately will change form. Whether that be a solid to a gas or a gas to a liquid, frequency remains. And whatever matter is in the world, universe, and extended universe today will be the same that's here tomorrow. There will be no more or no less. And that is the thing that people need to understand, is the frequency of all of this has already been determined. And it can change form and change shape, but it doesn't necessarily change by creation or removing matter. Now, I'm not trying to get into too in depth, but Stephen Hawking believed that you could destroy matter. And for most of his career said you could. Now, Stephen Hawking was a man that far exceeds my level of intelligence, and I would be couch cushion change compared to his bank of knowledge. But understand is that he was wrong. And emphatically, the scientific community disagreed with him, saying that matter would be destroyed. Matter can't be destroyed. It can only change form, change frequency. So the reason I say this is that this technology of direct energy weapons is simply about of distributing frequency, resonating at a certain velocity, certain tone, certain speed, certain bandwidth, and it can be turned into a weapon, just like a laser can, just like a bullet can. Frequency of the explosion creates a certain amount of force, pushes it down the barrel. The rifling of the barrel makes it spin. All of this has practical application to physics, to frequency. And if you change that and alter it, you get different varying results. Okay, that's the long story. So we covered the Havana syndrome and how these reports were coming out, but it wasn't really explored. It kind of got shut down. And the reason why it got shut down is because people said, well, this isn't that big of a deal. This isn't happening. The United States wasn't being targeted by foreign groups. All of these accusations came around, but nothing really concrete, and it was kind of dropped. Here's Eli Crane talking about this back in May. You remember that I did cover this, and I want to do this because I'm going to show you. This is all going to make sense. You might be lost right now. Like, what the hell is Matt talking about? Because I'm kind of giving you the lead before I give you the context. Here's the context. Here's Eli Crane, our good friend of the show, who we love, and he is talking about this. Listen to this.
I had a hearing this week in Homeland Security, and this hasn't even become very mainstream yet, but it was about different foreign adversaries using direct weapons, direct energy weapons against U.S. citizens that completely incapacitate citizens of the United States. You guys might have heard of it, called Havana syndrome. And then we went down to the SCIF, and we got a classified briefing from some of the people on the panel, and it was one of the most. I'm a former Navy SEAL, so I've traveled around the world and hunted bad guys for a long time. But I can tell you this: when I went down to that SCIF, it was one of the most terrifying briefs that I've ever been a part of. Okay, this is how brazen our enemies are becoming because of how foolish, corrupt, incompetent, and I would actually say wicked we have become. And our leadership has failed us at every turn. So this next election is going to be important. Thank you guys for coming. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
So I want you to think, Olivia, if you're walking by the microwave, why aren't you cooked by the radiation along with you?
Because it's contained within the box of the
How?
microwave. I'm assuming they build it so whatever it's made of, it keeps the radiation waves in it.
So it's really interesting. So the particles, like, have you ever thought about why does a microwave have a clear front?
No.
Because wouldn't that be just counterintuitive to trying to keep an autonomous sealed unit from exposing radiation in your house? Because is it enough radiation to kill you?
No, I don't think so.
Well, if it's enough to cook a hamburger, why wouldn't it be enough to kill you?
It's true.
Go stick a Yenny in the microwave for 20 seconds and let me know how she feels.
I did cook an ant in the microwave when I was a kid.
Right, so you get the point, right?
But, it was a tiny little ant. But
So
still.
absolutely there's enough to kill you. Absolutely. Now, is there enough to kill you if the door was open and it was running? No. But if you get close enough and stick your hand in there, you're in some deep shit. So how do they stop that from happening? Well, if you've ever seen, every microwave has little dots, and it looks like a black screen, and inside there's little dots, right?
Yeah.
Every microwave has that. Technology hasn't changed. If it was 1965, that same front circular dot reflector was there, and that's exactly what it is. And it reflects the overall radioactive properties and the atoms from going through there and cooking whatever's next to it. How many times your mom and dad say, don't stand next to the microwave because you'll get cancer?
A lot when I was younger.
Right. So that's right. Faraday. See, Frederick, I'm trying to keep it simple as I can. But essentially, the technology, Faraday technology, is very similar to trying to, thank you, Ashley, from keeping radio waves escaping a room. There's a Faraday cage. Faraday cage is an autonomous unit where if we would put copper wiring and mesh, no frequency could get in or escape this room. So there are certain ways to control energy. Now, can you imagine having a powerful enough conduit that could project the energy from a microwave directed at somebody? And if you can consider what that would look like, taking energy from this source and directing it across a vast amount of space,
It's going to have to be an awful big microwave to be able to go through that much space.
Or it's going to have to alter the frequency in a way that makes the transfer of that energy more conducive and less lossless. That's why I brought up frequency. So cancer, for instance, is you can use there's radioactive properties in order to alter the cancer cells, to alter their frequency where they ultimately destroy themselves. And this is what you get with targeted radioactive therapy, chemotherapy, and targeted therapy. And I don't know a lot about it because I'm not a nuke tech and I'm certainly not an oncologist. But what I can tell you is that there are ways to remove tapeworms from the body with frequency by sending a certain signal into the abdomen that those tapeworms will ultimately exfil from their location and leave your body. So imagine that if somebody is going to play something in a frequency like a dog whistle. Have you ever seen what a dog whistle does to... if you have a metal roof and aluminum siding is your house, a Faraday cage, no. We'll talk about a Faraday cage in a second. So, have you ever heard a dog whistle and seen a dog react?
Yeah.
What happens?
They don't like it majority of the time. They'll either stop what they're doing or depending, I've seen some will just put their paws over their ears and try to cover their ears like that. So
yeah, and because that frequency is overall is concerning to them, and that frequency bothers them and hurts your hearing. Same thing can happen to us, and we're not feeling it, we're not hearing it, but it's still having an impact on us. So Thomas asked a question: if you have a metal roof and aluminum siding, is your house a Faraday cage? The answer is no. So certain types of metal repel electronic frequency, and it's not just aluminum in itself, although aluminum is a container. Gold, copper, aluminum are fairly poor conductors, but working together, especially in a mesh, Copper is a fantastic element for a Faraday cage. The thing about a Faraday cage is that you can have certain things like electricity come in, but certain RF frequencies cannot escape or be penetrated. The same thing works on people have Faraday bags where they can put it in a small envelope, put their phone so it's untraceable. So no, not just that makes you can't go into a Home Depot shed and say, oh, I have a Faraday cage. That's not the way it works. Although it will impact, your overall signal quality, and it can. But there are ways to build it, and it's much more intricate than just having a metal roof or a metal shed. But it can impact the overall quality of the signal you have, but it certainly wouldn't damper it to a point of non-existent. But you can find all this stuff. But there's multiple facets. There's the grounding, there's the thickness of it, there's the material you're using, how you interlace it, all these type of things. The reason I would tell you, Liv, is do you believe that there's an example right now of a DEW weapon style event that could literally cook somebody like a microwave? Can you think of something?
No.
So have you've watched U571?
Yes.
And you've watched Hunt for Red October?
Yes.
Okay. And have you remember watching Men of Honor with Cookie, the underwater diver who loses his leg in a horrible accident? And
yes.
Yep, Robert De Niro.
Uh-huh.
And, okay,
yep.
Cuba Gooding.
Yes.
Do you remember what they said about him being out there when they were actively running the sonar when he was diving? You remember?
I remember the movie. I wouldn't be able to remember specifics.
So they said, don't run. We've got a diver in the water. Don't run the sonar, because if you do, you're going to cook him. And I will tell you, hundreds of thousands of fish and larger aquatic animals die every year when submarines are pinging and using sonar. Because if you get between that front nozzle nose cone of a submarine where its radar is emanating from and the direction it's flowing, you're going to get your ass cooked. That is a perfect example of using frequency and the water and the salt water, which is a conductor, to send out a pulse and have a return signal that comes back that is fairly benign to anyone behind it, but anyone in front of it, there poses a risk. Do you understand?
I'm trying. Well, science was not my strong suit, and this is all going over my head.
I'm not trying to go over your head. What I'm trying to say is there are things that are currently in existence that your imagination is, no, they don't have this technology, but they absolutely do. The reason I wanted to show you that is because this will all come together now when I have a prediction that Catherine Herridge, remember from Fox News, and she worked in the White House briefing room, and she was the intel analyst. And
I'd have to see a picture.
She's the geopolitical analyst for Fox, and then she went to work for ABC. She has an investigation that's 6 years in the making.
Got it. Thank you, Thomas.
Yes, Thomas, thank you. 6 years in the making, this has been going on, and she's about ready to drop this bomb. CIA confidential informant, Whistleblower, has come out and corroborated the investigation, and she's going to blow the lid on the whole thing. Watch this. This is pretty intense. I mean, I'm excited. I might play it live. That's how excited I am. Here it is.
Stories are just difficult to report. This story about attacks on our intelligence, military, and State Department personnel, I've really been picking up on and off for maybe 4, 5, 6 years. The working title for this project right now is government gaslighting. That is what the U.S. intelligence community and the CIA has been doing to injured personnel. And it's more than a dozen countries across the globe where these events have happened. There are these common threads. They're common threads, but the type of injuries they're having, The evidence is building, and it appears likely that a foreign adversary is behind these attacks. This is a highly vetted group, and they're trusted with some of the U.S. government's most closely held secrets. And if you acknowledge that U.S. government personnel are being targeted overseas while on assignment, it sends the message that nobody is safe.
When's that coming out?
Stay tuned. So,
well, it said biggest story of 2024. They only got one more day.
Well,
so.
I think what she's saying, it is the biggest story. I don't know if this is out yet. I didn't have enough time to do the research. She says stay tuned, and that was on December 19th. So let me see if there's any notes. So here is the
regular viewers know that we have been following the mysterious.
This is the disinformation that's been put on. So gaslighting. What is gaslighting? You hear it all the time.
I hear it all the time. I don't know how to really define it.
So essentially, it's using psychological manipulation to have people believe something and force them, or try to attempt to force them to believe something that they know is not true.
Got it.
So that's what gaslighting is. And here is the report from MSNBC, which kind of put the kibosh on this investigation. Watch this.
Serious illness that has affected U.S. officials all around the globe called the Havana syndrome. I've been following this with sort of a morbid curiosity for months. Explain the syndrome, who it targets.
Well, this really begins during the transition between the Obama administration and the Trump administration. And you had a veteran CIA officer who felt as if there was like a beam of energy that was following him. And so he reported it. Hey, Mike! Frankly, everyone was mystified. They didn't really know what to make of it. About a month later, a second incident involves that same CIA officer.
And something about the rays or the waves or the energy that was beaming towards them, it sickened them.
And what's kind of remarkable about the story is
the claims are scientifically implausible.
The mysterious Havana syndrome. Havana syndrome, that mysterious set of ailments known as the Havana syndrome.
Oh.
People believed to have been affected have reported headaches, dizziness, and in some cases, a loud noise.
Just play it for you so you can hear.
It was a lot worse earlier. It was persistent, kind of at the same level all the time.
Scientists say the sounds were crickets.
The mystery of the Havana.
So, watching this kind of funny mock-up, can you think of a time from an insect that we have been warned that we cannot stay close to it, or it can create psychosis, deafness, psychological trauma? Can you think of something?
That would be the cicada.
Tell them.
There's thousands of different species of cicada, but we have a cicada here in Virginia that comes out every 15 to 17 years, actually 13 to 17 years. And it came out in 2021 and it had been 17 years. They lay dormant in the ground or in the tree or wherever their eggs were laid. They lay as larvae for that long. They all come out and you've got billions of them. They are everywhere. If you look at a tree, the tree will move because there's so many cicada on it. They are so loud. We are told to stay inside, only go outside when necessary. Do not take your children outside. Stay indoors. And it's 2 months is when they were here. They were here for about 2 months. But they will set off your car alarm. They set off alarms. There are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of 911 calls saying that there is a house alarm going off, that there's alarms going off, that something's going on, and it's the cicada. And they are so many of them. It is deafening when you go outside. It is insane how loud they are. It is crazy. On the bright side of them, because they all come out at the same time and they all die within 2 months, our grass and our plants were so stinking fertile. Our grass would grow like seriously, like the next summer, like 2 feet in a week. It was insane how fertile and fertilized it was.
All the ground with coming up, and then when they die, they refertilize their position. But if you're next to a brood, which we all were here,
oh my God,
it's the recording. They'll go and take sound emitters and recording devices. It's the sound of a shotgun.
Yeah, it's insane.
And it's so damaging that you're told not to play near broods and be very, very careful. So the reason why is frequency. That's all frequency. It's sound. Everything. The key to life is cymatics. That's what it is. Cymatics. So thank you, Bobby Richardson. There's my girl. I was wondering where she was. I was worried. I'm like, is she going to make it tonight? Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate you.
I tell you, it is definitely, it's something to witness. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Funny story. Back in Texas, we had our golden retriever back in Texas.
German Shepherd,
excuse me. German Shepherd. She was a puppy, and she would hang out in the backyard and jump in the pool. And I came out to like, I don't know if I was going to feed her dinner or if I was coming out to take her for her walk and before we put her in her crate for the night. And she is looking at me with wide eyes. She won't open her mouth, and there is a noise coming from her mouth. I think she's choking.
Every time she opened her mouth, it was like...
And I'm like, oh my God, she's choking, because she was known to get into the garbage. Like, we had Chipotle like a week early. She knocked over the garbage can and Chipotle garbage and crap all over the pool in the yard. So she did that. I'm like, oh my God, she got into something in the garbage. She's choking. So I called Matt outside, and I'm like, and we're thinking, oh my God. We couldn't get it. And finally, we managed to open her mouth. She had taken a cicada in her mouth, and she wouldn't swallow it, but she wouldn't let it go. And it was just sitting on her tongue.
And she dug it up, and they weren't hatching yet. So she woke it up from its hibernation and had it in her mouth.
And it was pretty funny.
Anyway, we'll be right back.
Join WimKen.com, the social media platform built for free speech and true connection. No censorship, no algorithms controlling your feed, just genuine conversations and a commitment to protecting your rights. Sign up today at WimKen.com and take back your voice. Tell them Matt and the Dumb Show sent you.
I'm going to show a quick video, and then we're going to get into the deeper part about India and this visa program. That's just, Republicans are divided all over the place. Some people are like, yes, we need immigrants to come in to fill some of these jobs. No, we don't. We don't want any people from India. India has become kind of a hotbed for this conversation. I'm going to go through a couple things about India. If you have not been to India, I will tell you a little bit of what it's like. And here is a quick video outside of that. This is just, it's not funny, but my God, I would move. I will tell you that much if this happened to me. Watch these videos. This is crazy.
In this home since he's lived in this home since 1960, but since 1972, cars have crashed into his property 23 times. He says his insurance company has spent $30,000 placing these steel poles here twice, but that hasn't stopped people from crashing into his property. He's lived in this home since 1960, but since 1972.
It's an off-ramp, and it's got a very like S curve to it. So people come off it and misjudge it, and they launch and
oh my goodness,
right into his house. Look at that. I mean, his car's just flying like missiles, dude. Look at that.
That's insane.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, I'd move. Totally.
I would too.
Yeah, that's just waiting for a car to happen when one of our kids is sleeping in their bedroom and it crashes.
Right, like everybody probably moved their rooms to the back side of the house. Okay. So there's a couple arguments here. Is I'm going to show you a video. And the one thing about the U.S. military is okay. I was a high school dropout. I got my GED. I scored like one of the highest scores in Colorado in I don't know how many decades. I was smart, but I was lazy. So I got my GED, and then 2 months later, the United States Navy said, we're not taking GEDs anymore. So I had to go back to high school and finish an entire year of senior high school in 2 months. And I did. And I tested out and I crushed it. And I went to adult ed and I joined the United States Navy. But they trained me in less than a year to understand how to analyze, logically deduce patterns in people's writing style, do predictive analysis on their where they would be from a financial standpoint, from a geopolitical standpoint, from a military standpoint, understand weapon systems, understand imagery analysis, understand data encryption, understand how to do other things that I can't even tell you about. Satellite tasking, how to do insertion missions, how to do strike, all this type of stuff in less than a year and a half. And I was 22 years old. They teach people in 18 months how to be nuclear technicians and work on nuclear carriers and nuclear submarines and reactors. They teach people how to fly planes. Dentists, doctors, kids, they're teaching children how to do these things. And we can't teach people to be computer programmers, so we need to bring them in from India. We have the ability to teach people at a very rapid and intense process to do these jobs that we're bringing in from other countries. If we can train someone to be a nuclear engineer in 18 months, how in the fuck can we not teach someone to be a computer programmer or an IT guy or a server-based programmer or Linux or C++ or Java, whatever the fuck? If we can do this right here, and I want you to watch this. Mike Blankman is going to shit a purple Twinkie. I know Tommy probably will. Several of my military guys watching the show will. But watch this. If you can teach a kid how to do this in his 20s, in a period of a year or two, then you can teach kids how to develop themselves into the next innovative engineer for Tesla. If you can teach people to be electronic warfare specialists, if you can teach someone how to be crypto, or teach someone a language in 6 months. But if you can teach somebody to do this, we can figure out our problem about having a lack of professionals and having to bring in overseas best of the best when we've got a program called the U.S. military right now. Watch this. This is incredible. Like I said, the people who are in the military will see this and go, holy shit. Watch this. Practicing for rope insertion, right? To do a rappel. You're 10 feet off the deck. You're coming in low on the water. Okay? You hit your back rudders. Bring the nose up. Keep your profile low so you can't take any rounds from higher up positions. You would have someone spraying the side of that ship if there were any AKs or RPGs coming up, which is a perfect position to shoot up in that situation versus down because you're leaving yourself vulnerable. You have to expose yourself to hit that chopper. So you got to pop up over that railing, which is going to get you lit up like a Christmas tree by whatever gunner's coming out of that door. You're going to hover 10 feet over, drop rope, You're going to drop 6 to 8 guys out, and you're going to dust back off and be out of danger. Once again, if we can teach someone to do this, we can teach someone. I don't think you understand how incredibly difficult this is and how fucking dangerous.
Just the way he turned.
Yes. Rotor blades. I mean, that is just incredible.
I think in my opinion, it has to do when they stop teaching STEM in school. It's when No Child Left Behind. It's when they went from, it was a new way they were teaching math that they're finally getting away from. They started in the 2000s. Common Core. It's when they started Common Core. They started teaching math and science differently. They started allowing kids to retake their tests over and over and over and over until they passed. There was no punishment, no consequences for a child being lazy and not studying. You got passed anyway. Right. And it took a toll on our education. And honestly, I think the teachers' unions have a lot to do with it, because teachers, they claim tenure and then they turn into piece of shit teachers who don't care about anything, don't care about the kids, and they teach them horribly. We're horrible in our education rate in the world, and the kids have gotten lazy and they're not going to college for these mathematical and science careers anymore. They're getting gender studies and frickin' whatever and liberal arts and the easiest possible degree you can get, and they're not going to college for stuff like this anymore. And to be honest, our young people are freaking lazy. They don't want to work.
I'm not saying that. But even if 95% of the population is ultimately lazy, that still gives you 20 million people to choose from who aren't. That's my point.
Yeah, I think it's wrong to bring them in.
This is a solvable problem, right? So one of the best things that I can give you a quote that comes from the teams is people want to know the difference or what makes seals seals, right? What makes a seal? And the best description I've ever heard, and I can't remember, it was definitely a senator, and I can't remember his name. It's not Ottoman, but it's something, you guys will remind me. It's on the tip of my tongue. I know his name, and I can't think of it. Somebody remind me. But you guys know who I'm talking about. Older gentleman. Fuck. Doesn't matter. So this is the saying. If you look inside a SEAL team platoon, you're going to see people that all look different, different shapes, different sizes, different color, different builds, but all walk the same. And it's the passion and the drive and the cut of person that they all walk the same. That they all walk the same path. They all have the same idea. They all have the same solution to problems. And it takes a special kind of person to be a team guy. And that's the one thing they all have in common. I have worked, and I know hundreds of SEALs. And I will tell you, they all have one thing in common. They're all the same. They all have the same drive, the unquenchable thirst to win.
I would think that you would need to, considering what you have to go through in Buds and Hell Week, that unless you wanted to be there and had the drive to do it, that there's no way you could make it, because you have to, I think half of that is mental going through that. So I think a lot has to do with the whole reason that companies ship their jobs out to foreign countries is the labor is cheaper. And I don't know what the rules are here as far as minimum wage, but if somebody comes in on a work visa, do they have to pay the minimum wage, or can they pay them less because they're not an American citizen?
Right.
If that's the case, then they're doing it for labor. And I have a feeling these companies, they already know what Trump did 4 years ago and how he got companies to come back to America because he raised the taxes on other countries if they ship their goods out.
Tariffs.
The tariffs. So he raised those. Yeah, it's tax, tariff, whatever. That I think they're preparing for that, and they're trying to bring their workforce back into the country, but I think they're trying to cheapen their labor by bringing other people here as opposed to paying Americans.
I remember the SEAL's name, Van Orden.
Okay.
So just for the people who are wondering,
Gotcha.
let me show you a video of why. Listen, I know plenty of people from India, and they are amazing human beings. This is not being derogatory towards a race, class of people, but I also know a lot of shitbags who are Indian and Pakistani, okay? I just let you know. Their country is a shithole. And I'm sorry, it is. This is not to bandwagon on this, but I think if the United States is looking, they need to look internally, okay? Here's a quick video. There's two of them. I want to show them to you. And,
India is one of the most polluted countries in the world. But how polluted is it? The Ganges River, beautiful, sacred, and drowning in trash. Stretching over 1,500 miles, it pours 115,000 tons of plastic into the ocean yearly. Imagine a river.
He's not 160th Special Ops, dude. It's a standard stick. And he's like 20, 23, 24 years old. He's straight out of the academy. That's all I know. But he's not 160th Special Operations. I know that for sure.
So polluted, it's a garbage highway to the Bay of Bengal. Now, moving to Delhi's Trash Mahal, the Ghazipur landfill. Standing nearly 236 feet tall, almost as high as the Taj Mahal, it's a towering heap of waste spreading over 70 acres. It grows by 2,000 tons a day and sends out toxic gases, polluted water, and a stench that'll make you wish you were anywhere else. Over 600 million people in India don't have access to proper toilets. Half of homes have phones, but no toilets. Open defecation isn't just gross, it's deadly. 70% of urban sewage goes untreated, flowing into rivers like the Ganges and causing diseases like diarrhea. Approximately 300,000 people lose their lives to diarrhea in India each year.
Gross.
Japan is one of the cleanest cities I've ever seen in my life. I disagree with you, Larry. I was in Hokkaido. I was in Okinawa. I was in Roppongi. I was in Yokohama, Yokosuka. Japan is impeccably beautiful and clean. I don't know. Unless it's changed in the last 30 years. Here is a 20-minute TED Talk in a shortened, abbreviated version about shitting in public.
Represents all of the open defecation that happens in the world. This is the fraction that happens in India. And this is the fraction that happens only in rural India. 65% of rural Indians defecate in the open. So what that means is that most of the open defecation that happens in the world happens in rural India, and most rural Indians defecate in the open. Every day, 500 million people in villages in India go in the fields rather than use a toilet or a latrine. That's bigger than the population of the United States. If this circle...
A 20-minute TED Talk on shitting.
That's I would have to say that's probably the most embarrassing TED Talk to give. But
how about a lot of people who are of that area don't use toilet paper?
Yeah,
They use their hands.
Mm-hmm, I've heard that.
So I just want to be clear. I'm not saying that Indian people are all like this. What I'm saying is that there is a cultural disconnect that unless you are going to matriculate and conform to U.S. behavior, we don't fucking want you here. If you're not going to learn the language, don't come. If you're not going to be a U.S. citizen and an American versus a Pakistani American or an Indian American or Mexican American, we don't want you here. Learn our country, learn our language, learn our laws. And when I say our language, that means to communicate with 86% of the population, which is English. We don't have a language that has been decided as a national language. We don't have a national religion. A lot of people don't know that. They think that the language of the United States is English. It's not. We don't have one. We also don't have a national religion. We are one of the only countries without a national language and a national religion. The reason why is because we are a melting pot that believes in legal immigration. Now, all these people who don't want any immigration, fuck you. There's nothing wrong with legal and having legal immigrants come to our country. Okay? Especially when we're not having babies. And that's one of the problems right now with our country. But assimilate or get the fuck out.
Reminds me of our honeymoon in Disneyland, remember?
Which one?
Was our honeymoon.
I know that, but which situation?
It was when, I think we were just walking down Main Street Disney, and two Asian guys.
Oh, yeah, Japanese guys started pissing in the road.
Yeah, just out of the blue, whipped it out and pissed right in the middle of the street. And I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, holy cow, that's freaking Disneyland. Yeah, I was a bit shocked about that one.
Yeah, and I'm like, I told you, I was like, oh boy, this is pretty standard in Japan.
What, just whip it out and pee anywhere?
Yeah, pee in the gutter. Yeah, there's guys just sitting up there and you pee right in the gutter. A lot of the places in Japan have free-flowing water in the gutters. They have looks like a water fountain, and it's just running, and it's running, non-processed water. And it goes into the sewage. And they pee. You know what I mean?
Interesting, yes.
Yeah. Listen, I went to Japan at a very young age, and I didn't speak a word of kanji or katakana, or I didn't speak Japanese. I had to figure it out. I had to assimilate. I had to learn the language and learn how to read and write it. And I data dumped that shit like crazy. But when you live in a foreign country, when we would visit Russia, when we would visit in Bali, when we would visit in the Polynesian Islands, we had to learn and understand how to assimilate. Japanese don't shit in the street, they pee. And in a lot of places, they run a water and / chlorine mix that it's not a big deal. I've pissed in the street in Japan before. I mean, dude, when you're hopping bar to bar, trust me, and you got a lot of Habasaki in you. So, that's it. Here's what I think. The United States needs to put America first, and that's with our jobs. That's with our culture. But legal immigration is fine. I am fine with some Indians coming over here that are exceptional. What I would love if they would stay in their own fucking country and fix their own problems, and then bring some of those solutions to the United States and run their corporate offices here. That would be nice. But if you want to come in and you want to benefit from the United States, then you better stay here. And you better build your company here. And so I think if we're going to do these visa programs, I think it's H1B or whatever it is, and we're going to do these programs, that there needs to be stipulations that are signed, and we hold these companies to, or there is a massive tax if they leave the United States after getting their education here and everything else. If you want to come here and you want to legally immigrate into our country, fine. But you will stay in the United States and you will work in the United States and you will build your company in the United States. You won't just take all the benefit and then just leave. And if you do, there is a shit ton of responsibility financially before you can go. I don't know, man. I think we need to get a little bit stricter. We were a country, bring your huddled masses. Those days are gone. Because the huddled masses weren't clacking off fucking vests back then. The huddled masses weren't stealing children and raping kids. The huddled masses weren't putting enough fentanyl in the world to kill a small frickin' village. Okay? They weren't living off of our welfare system. They weren't creating crime. They weren't going in and setting people on fire in fucking subways. The huddled masses were meek, and the reason why they were meek is because they were starving and they didn't have anything. And the one thing that they all had is they all walked the same. Just like that platoon I told you about, they wanted to live a life. They wanted to be free, and they wanted to have their families prosper. Now, they want free health insurance, free 3 hots and a cot, and to live off the backs of Americans. The days of the huddled masses are over. It's time to be a little more selective in who we allow into our country. Sorry.
Amen. I 100% agree with you.
Good. You should.
I know you gave me my opinion before the show and told me what to say.
That's right.
So,
you better listen to me. I got a couple of other things. I'm just going to wrap off with one more. Here is Don Lemon losing his shit.
What's new?
Yeah. Do you agree with what Vivek had to say on this issue? I agree with everybody on this issue. There are things Donald Trump says that I agree with. There's things that who are like opposed to that. I believe there's people like Matt Gaetz, and I believe there's people like Crowder, and who have spoken out against it, and Steve Bannon. I believe in a little bit of what everyone said. I believe in what they've all said. Because there's merit in all of it. We need legal immigration. Unless people are going to start screwing and having babies again, we need legal immigrants, but we can choose which ones we allow. And they should be, if we're going to take the top 2%, I've told you this, it's a conundrum, is that if you do that and you take the 2%, that country will never get better. You're taking the best of the best out of that country. It's never going to solve their problems. And a lot of Indians do that. They come over here and they get their education, and they don't go back to India. They go to England, they go to Germany, they go to Europe, and they open up their companies. And they don't bring it back to their country. Once again, you come here, you use the United States for your education. You better open up your business here, or you owe a massive tax back to the U.S. once you establish your business. And we're going to have to open up international law, and we're going to have to go ahead and sign some things with other countries that are similar to extradition treaties and extradition arrangements, where we can say that you need to pay a fuck you tax. And listen, if people leave England and you educate them there and they come to the United States, we will collect an FU tax for England. It's time to start telling citizens of their country to stay there. And it's time to eradicate these tyrannical regimes that are putting people in a position where they can't function. We're going to have to start asking these countries in South America, in Mexico, in the Middle East to start fending for themselves. And if they need weapons, okay, we'll figure it out. If you need a little bit of money, we'll figure it out. But there is a limit to our generosity. Because in the long run, these mass refugees and migrations are wiping people and the cultures off the face of the earth. Look at Europe. Europe will never be the same. If you think this isn't going to infect the Norwegian states, you're crazy. Norwegian countries, it's going to affect Sweden. It's going to affect Finland and Norway. Look at England. Look at Germany. Look at France. Are you kidding me? They're unrecognizable. Look at Greece. Yes, countries need to support themselves, but it's in our best interest to get them where they need to be and then cut them the F off. Because dumping money into these countries, billions of dollars every year, isn't helping. It's not helping. It's just throwing your and my money away. So let's do it. Let's rip the Band-Aid. Let's fix the problem and get the hell out of there. Here's Don Lemon going batshit, and then we'll do final thoughts. Thank you, everybody, for your donations. If you haven't had a chance to donate, last chance, thedumbshow.com/donate. Go there right now. You can donate on Venmo and PayPal, or do it on a P.O. box. If it's your first time, there's a whole bunch of people on. It's your first time watching, that's fine. Maybe you just want to watch, get your feet wet, and say, hey, do I like this show or not? If you do and you've stayed, maybe you can say, hey, you know what? Let's throw them a couple bucks. It's not a charity. You don't have to donate. We just do it so we can stay on and keep the lights on and keep providing a great show for you. Looking that pretty down there is not that cheap. Trust me. She has to put a lot of work in, especially now that she's older, really older, much older than when I first met her. She has to work to look. Me, I don't. I wake up and I look this good every day.
The much older. Really?
You're not much
26 years older.
You look so young. You look so beautiful. Here, look up at me. Mm-hmm. Hi, sweetie. Gotta look up. Say, hi, babe. Hey, while you're down there, can you put your hand up 3 inches to the left? Here's woo! Oh, hey, that's a finger. That's not. Nope, that's not the place we go. Hey, here is Don Lemon losing his shit, which I always love. Enjoy. There's some language here. If you don't like language, don't do this.
I'm fucking idiots. Now you're just
started right on. Thanks, Don.
Yep. Us figuring this shit out. You're so fucking stupid, and you deserve it. You fucking deserve it because you're so dumb. Jim, it's hypocrisy. So go with me here. Yes, I am gloating over your stupidity and how you were taken. I'm cackling in Kamala, says in Shanta. You have been co-opted because you're in a fucking cult and you don't even realize it because you have stupid MAGA brain and you don't get it. How stupid and dumb are you? And I'm just going to I can't wait to go through this. Okay. So I'm going to read this again. So Krishnan's appointment triggered an anti-Indian backlash on social media, particularly given his past advocacy for increasing green cards and immigration broadly. Oh no, immigration. We can't do the immigration because it's hot in here, guys. Sorry. Woo! Thank you. We can't do the immigration because, the immigration, it triggers some people. You know what they're saying about the anti-immigrant stuff, right? Who's in to say that one of the jobs you might be seeking won't be one of those white jobs? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Fag.
You want to know what I'm watching there? I'm watching RuPaul. So he looks like I'm waiting for him to get full length, having a nice pair of 3-inch stilettos and sashay across the living room. You know, that's what I'm waiting for. It looks just like freaking RuPaul. That's all I could think about the whole time. And to be honest, I have no idea what he was saying. He's just one big blur of stupid.
He's just an asshole. And he's always been an asshole. I mean, the interview with Elon Musk was one of the most cringe interviews I've ever seen. The guy has no talent. The funny thing is, he was based in 2014.
I know. I saw him when he was
very based in 2014. Honestly, was a very moderate Democrat who was up and coming, and then they got a hold of him. Disagreement. It's not okay. I'm going to put my 1 minute on this. Disagreement is not toxic. Disagreement is not revolution. It's not some sort of destroying of a foundation that can't be rebuilt. I want Republicans arguing. I want them openly in a quorum and forum discussing these things and disagreeing. That is how the cake gets made. Democrats do it behind closed doors in a Machiavellian style with nefarious plans 6 months to a year away, and systematically, without independent thought, collectively decide to all agree on the same thing. That's not what this is about. That is a power struggle. At least the Republicans are disagreeing. Good. I want them to challenge each other. I want them to ask the question, is the speakership the right person with Mike Johnson? Well, it fucking better be, or Donald Trump isn't going to be the president. It's going to be Grassley on January 6th. They need a speaker to confirm the nomination. Let's go. I want them to argue. I want them to challenge. And then in the end, they are all holding and putting skin in the game. I don't want this Caesar court anymore. I want the American people to see the cake being made. Don Lemon believes that you need to be good little soldiers, all in line, towing and indoctrinating America that the only way to govern is to agree. The only way to govern is to disagree. And every boardroom I've ever been in, I have been the ninth man. And I will always be the ninth man. And that's why I do it on this show, is that I will always be the voice of opposition to anything that is considered conformity or considered to be groupthink. I will always, no matter if I agree or not, I will be the voice of opposition when it comes to stolen elections, when it comes to Jewish space lasers, when it comes to bioweapon labs, when it comes to the ghost of Kyiv, when it comes to drones. What happened to the fucking drones, people? Where did they go? Hey, I have another question. Hey, where did all the Hamas supporters and all those protests that took place all over the country? Where
I saw some more vulture drones today on my walk.
Where are all the Hamas supporters? Where did they go?
Disappear.
Remember the drones? Poof. Drones are gone. Oh, the government got wise. It stopped. No. You just recognized that they were civilian aircraft and military aircraft like I told you the whole fucking time. Where's the Iranian mothership off the coast? Oh, it wasn't real? I told you that too. Folks.
Iranian mothership.
I am the voice of opposition in the room. I am the ninth man. Hear me roar. Olivia, take him home.
Freaking Iranian mothership. Some people are so stupid. People do not have to agree with me. You can have a different opinion. I'm not going to think any different of you. If you have a different opinion of me, if you like a different sports team, if you're a different political affiliation, I don't care. Just be a good human being. Have a good heart and be kind to your fellow man. Yeah, I mean.
I didn't say Don Lemon was gay and made fun of his homosexuality. His comment is gay. Like dumb. Like the way we used to use it in 90, before everyone's like, oh, you can't say gay. Well, why? The Republicans said don't say gay, and you guys fucking got all pissed off on it. That wasn't the bill. So either I can say gay or not say. Which one is it? You want me to say gay or not say gay? You can't use it in a derogatory name. You want me to drop an N-bomb? What do you want me to say? You want me to use the F word on him? Yeah. I'm so sick of the political correctness, folks. Say what you want. Go ahead.
I wonder if he owns gerbils. Just a thought.
See, there's some things you just don't say.
Well, it's just, just a thought.
You just don't say that. But his entire thought process is just gay. Like, just, and you can't say that. If you can call me a Nazi, I can say that. He called me a Nazi. He called me deplorable. He called me a fascist. He called me an insurrectionist. I fucking went to bed. I drove through January 6th because I was working in Annapolis that day. I didn't take part in it. I told people not to go into it.
I was cleaning the house that day.
Like you should have.
That may have been the day I almost broke my toe when I dropped the bench on it when I was mopping.
You should do more of that. Should do more cleaning of the house. Cook me a pot pie, too. Folks, thanks for watching the Donut Friendly Show. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for the donations. Thanks for keeping us on. Can I call myself the N-word? No, you can't say that. But that's what I'm saying. Well, what do you want me to call him? You can't say asshole because that's his sexual preference.
Oh, my God. Again, gerbils.
So what am I supposed to... Can I call him a dick? No, he likes that, too.
That's his name. I'm going to call him.
Can I call him a cum-guzzling sperm... nutting gutter slut? No, that's also his day job.
Don Gerbil Lemon. That's his new name.
What can I call him? A foo-foo head? Come on. I'm going to say that I don't think Don Lemon's an evil guy. I just think he's dumb as dog shit.
Yeah.
I just think he's dumb as dog shit. That's it. Like, if you've ever heard him try to pull a fact out of his ass, the size of the Lincoln Tunnel, it never is... coherent. It's always, he's just turned into a guy who just cusses and yells all the time. Oh, sounds like somebody I know. Thanks for watching the Donut Friend Me Show. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Liv, who's on the docket for tomorrow?
I think Leroy is. I'm being convinced I should join as well. But the problem is when Leroy's on the show, you guys talk freaking technical. I'm bored.
Won't talk to who told you to be here tomorrow?
The Rumble chat.
Just be here tomorrow. We won't talk about it.
Okay. Because they said
just be here tomorrow. We won't do that.
I said I get bored, and they're like, well, that's the best time because that means I can pay attention to them the whole show.
See, there you go, and not do any of your other responsibilities like make me a pot pie. Come on tomorrow. I love it when you're on.
Okay, I do have a bottle of wine in there. Maybe I'll have some wine.
So just like every other day.
No, freaking that bottle of wine that we
had. Can we go? You're keeping us
here.
Here. I want to go play some PoE too.
You might want to explain to people what that means. So we have dirty minds, listeners.
Poke
with dirty
Olivia
minds.
excellently. 2. PoE 2. That's the name of it. Thanks for watching the Donut Friend Me Show. We'll see you tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Be there or be Don Lemon.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show.
7 o'clock.
With your hosts, Matt.
Eastern Standard, 7 o'clock.
And Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.